Hi everyone, this is Yahoo Studios. In part 1, we modeled this toothpick dispenser from scratch. In today's video, we are going to texture it, and not just texture it, but texture it like a pro. In this video, I'm going to show you what is usually hidden from beginners, to take your texturing skill from noob to pro. Let's get to it. Alright, so this is where we left off from our last part. This is where we left off from. We finished with this part. Good, so that you could create the holes here for the toothpaste to come out. Something decent. We'll be able to successfully parent parts of the rings to the cap. And I think with this said, you can go on to texturing. So with that said, go to our shading. And you can see right now it's really small because I have to scale. So just select this. But for our texturing, we like to do it in cycles, alright? Cycles is simply a render engine. In Blender, we have two render engines, which are most commonly used, which is Eevee and Cycles. I'm not too sure about Workbench at the moment, but for this tutorial, I think it is safe to be in Cycles. So that's what we shall use. And now to view it, we'll go to Render Preview. We'll go back to our layout, go to Render Preview. Now you see that when we enter Render Preview, we get these blocks, which is basically our wire frames that we created. We can simply hide them by clicking the I button here, as well as for the reference, just so that we are able to see our model. Alright, so we go to wall shading, and because we want some lighting, we can just give it maybe a basic white, plain white. Yes, and that should be fine. Alright, okay, so then let's start texturing. If you have a graphics card, I suggest you put it on GPU compute for cycles. If not, put it on CPU. After that, I'd like to do some render settings just to my liking. User render settings. Apart from that, then I think they should be okay. Alright, so with that being said, we would like to texture this part, the main body. So go to new, and you can call this the body. So what you are going to do is you are going to try and make this transparent, almost like some sort of plastic or glass. But you see that as we are going on, we may encounter an issue, and I'd like to show you the fix to that. So to do a simple glass material, what you can do is reduce our roughness to 0.1. And under this transmission, we increase our weight of the transmission to 1. Now you see we get some sort of transparency effect there. We get this thing which is more or less like behaving like glass. To see it properly, what you can do is you go back to solid mode, make sure you're in this collection, and just add a plane. You press Alt G on that plane, just so that it's under it, so that we can view our shading properly. Go back to render mode. Now you see we get a nice shadow. As if you are observant, you see that we have some sort of caustics already happening there. It is a good sign. Alright, okay. This IOR value, index of refraction, then IOR for glass is about 1.5, which I think is correct in this case. So you can leave it there. Now the issue is, as we are going ahead and we put in our toothpicks later in this tutorial, you realize that they may look weird, and it's because of the way Blender is calculating our glass. Alright. Right now, they don't have any means of real, how would I call it, real thickness, should I say. So in order to fix that, what we'll do is we'll add a solidify modifier. So we'll go to add modifier, generate solidify, enable wireframe, then we'll just reduce the thickness. Hold your shift key. Let me enable screencast keys. Alright. Hold your shift key, then drag your thickness just a tad. Maybe 0.002 should work. If not, go back to rendered view. Then you see we get a lot. This is way better than what we had before. Hope you see that it becomes more transparent. In case yours may not be as transparent as mine for whatever reason, you can reduce this alpha value, you see, which makes it even more transparent. It helps us just to push our transparency even further. So I think you can leave it somewhere around 0.6 or 0.5, and this is fine. So for now, this is what we'll do to this. Now basically everything on the top is about going to have the same material. Alright, so for this we can add a new material and just something basic, maybe just go dark a bit, and you can just call this maybe the cover underscore top. This can be, then reduce our roughness a bit, perhaps 0.3, maybe increase our specular value, and now what we want to do is I want to copy all of this material to all of whatever is at the top. And a quick and simple way of doing that in Blender is by this. Select all the objects at the top, whatever it be, make sure they are all selected. Just go around, select them, and then make sure that this one is the last selected. You don't want to select a ground, so you can unselect that. Make sure that this is selected. Press Ctrl L and make sure you have link materials. Now when you go back to cycles, you see you have a problem. We won't do that. The reason why we had that is because the glass also had the same thing. So make sure that it's here. Ctrl L, link materials. Beautiful. We select this, shift select this, Ctrl L, link materials to as well. I think you are getting something realistic here. Computer is being a bit slow. For now, I think this is great. Since we are done with basically the modeling stage for now, what you can do is that you can now apply these modifiers. But before that, I want to separate all our Boolean objects in a separate collection. So I'm just going to hide them. In case you can't see them, make sure that this button turned overlays is off, is on rather. If it's off, just turn it back on. So select our cube, and then this cylinder, then shift select this cylinder. Sorry, wonder what is selecting. We select this cylinder, shift select this. We'll press M on the keyboard, click new collection, and then we'll call this collection, you can call it boolean, click create. They create this collection for us. OPC. So now that this has been created, you can hide them here. On checking this, go to this, and we'll click. For now, you can just apply a boolean modifier. Click apply, then we go to edit mode. Everything has been nicely applied here. Alright, can do the same for this. There's no modifier on that. I think that'll be all. I want to try and fix this glitching problem. Okay, so then go back to our render mode. Okay, the textures are alright here, but I'd like to add more realism by using something called surface imperfections, and we're going to use something called image textures, and I'll teach you how to do that in just a second. But before that, I want to make sure that we have something called a good UV map. So you see, when you go to the UV editing workspace here, you are in layout, you go to the top here, just put your mouse over UV editing, click it, then see it brings us to edit mode automatically. If you press A, because we've not yet loaded in an image, there's nothing there. So I'd like to show you what this is about. Sorry, let me just hit numpad period. Okay, so what you're going to do is this. We are going to create some little surface imperfections to add some realism to this object. Right now, it is totally plain, which is not bad, but it can be better. Sorry, my computer is acting a bit choppy. So what you are going to do is, with this selected, we are going to plug in the image texture to roughness. So we'll go to Shift A, press Shift A, go to texture, then image texture. Alright, then I want to open an image, go to my surface imperfections, then I'll choose one, open image. In case you don't have an image like this, a good site I recommend to you is cgbookcase.com. Let me open that up for you to see. cgbookcase.com. So you have it here. Go to browse textures, then in their category section you can just look for surface imperfections, and they have a wide range, maybe not that wide, but a number of surface imperfections you can download. I suggest that you choose any of them, choose this, then just click download and save it wherever you want on your computer. Anyways, that's just for the meantime. So CG Bookcase is a good place where you can get your textures from. So we'll leave that aside. Now, what you are going to do is plug in a color value into a roughness value. If you look closely, you can see we have some sort of imperfections going there on the roughness. Now, I'll try and explain something to you in Blender. The reason why that is because it's taking the black and white values and trying to match them across this surface, which is letting us be able to see these imperfections right here. You can try going to cycles, save my file first, go to cycles, see system is out of GPU memory. That means okay, so now I'm back. If you observe closely, we see that there are some surface imperfections going on there. You can control those values by using a color ramp to better view it. So just drag a black slider as well as a white slider. You see when you cross over, see the surface imperfections you got. Makes it look a bit more realistic. Just push it here. You can flip the color ramp. So just something to create some sort of smudge. Reduce the white a little, increase the black. And we can do the same thing for this material. But first of all, for this, I would like you to use the UV map. But before that, I'll first use Ctrl T. In case you use Ctrl T and this doesn't come up, you need to install the Node Wrangler add-on. So you go to Edit, Preferences, under Add-ons, search for Node Wrangler. See right here. If yours is disabled, make sure it's enabled. Click these three buttons and save preferences. So you can close it. So remember, select this, hit Ctrl T. It's already using the UV. I'd like to view the UV map for it. And I think the UV map for this is fine. Yes. And in case you may not know what a UV map is, the way I understand the UV map is that it's basically taking into account your geometry, that is the geometry of the mesh, and then kind of creating some sort of net shape. You understand net shape is like opening up the objects and displaying parts of the image to those corresponding faces or vertices, mostly faces. I hope you understand. If there's any question you have about this, you can ask me down in the comments, and I think I should be able to assist you. Anyways, back to what we're doing. Go back to shading. Now that you are done with this, we'll just apply similar ones to this, the cover here. So add an image texture. Insert the color to the roughness. Okay, we open up a surface imperfections, and you can just choose a different one. maybe dust wipes. Hit Control T. Then let's see how this looks. Right now it looks very shiny, which is unnatural. So what to do is you search for a color ramp, put it inside there, and then let's try flipping our color ramp. Okay, we can start from here. You see that this object gets some weird shading issues. That's all because of the UV map. But let's work with this object first, then we'll work on this object and make sure that everything has a proper UV map. So we select this, toggle my window full screen. Just bring our black and white value. I want to check the UV editing for this. To unwrap it, you can go UV, unwrap, then smart UV project, then click on wrap, and then it automatically Blender tries to make a UV map out of the mesh. So we'll try and see what that looks like in material preview. And that is not bad, but since this is a small scale object, what you can do is try and increase the scale. So you can search for a value node, and you put the scale at maybe 1.5 and plug it into the scale. Then we'll just drag this slightly and see what works for us. Instead of, we can also decrease it, maybe a 0.1. Okay, see we get some sharp edges here. We are going to try and fix that. Go to UV editing. What you can do is alt select this loop, go to UV maxim. Okay, select everything with A, UV unwrap, then we can go angle based. I think that fixes it for us. So that makes it quite better. Let's go back to shading viewer. But now it looks a bit too rough. So what you can do is drag in our black values, drag in the white as well. You can also flip it. So you can increase the black values just a bit like this, decrease the white, okay. Because of these sharp edges, you can increase them like this. Don't want it to be too shiny, I also don't want it to be too rough, so you just have to play with what you have here. Also try flipping it around to see what works for you. Okay, something like this should work. Okay, that looks fine. You can just go maybe 0.05 with this. I think that looks fine. Now to work on this part right here, since it's still being affected by the boolean, you don't have to apply it. What you can do is just add what we as we did a seam maybe around this edge. Go to UV, mark seam, select all, U, unwrap, angle based. You see we get this saying that object has non-uniform scale. So that basically means because our scales are not set to 1. So in order to fix that, all you have to do is go Control A, apply scale. Then we'll try what we did again. So go to UV, unwrap, angle based. Go to shading. I think that fixes it for us. So you have something like this, which is way better than the stretching that we got. And I think I like this. I'm going to save my projects. You can also apply the same thing over here. Sorry. Go to edit mode. Just looking for something, maybe this edge under the loop here. Go to UV, mark seam, A, hit A, go to UV, unwrap, angle based. Go back to object mode. Then beautiful, we get these lovely surface imperfections. As for these rings, since they are not really viewed that much, we don't need to add it to them. So I think for now what we have here is okay for the meantime. So this will be our shading. Let me see if I can view it in cycles. Hopefully my computer won't crash. Okay, we allow for cycles to do its thing. And it doesn't look bad itself. Looks quite good. Because in real life, not everywhere is completely shiny, not completely black. We can still do some minor edits. So with this, for example, you can still reduce the white. Rather increase the value of the black just a bit, decreasing this to just a bit, not too much, but if you can just adjust them to however you like them. Looking for something like this. This looking beautiful. Going to hit save. Because I want to reduce whatever is happening with this, I'll get my view here. I want to view it from this side, from the camera, okay? So what I'll do is I'll rotate my camera the way I want it to be. And in case you get this, you're kind of moving like this, what you can do is select this object and hit the numpad period. Making sure screencast keys is on. So you just drag around. If you're getting something like this, you can just hit period and Blender will focus on that object. So we want to view it from around this place. This is just for preview sake. Select our camera, hit Control Alt, then numpad 0. Then we get something like this. Right click not to move it. What you can do is change our resolution to maybe 2000 by 2000 pixels. Yes, and move the camera ever so slightly. You can hold the shift key to move it by small increments. Put off overlays. Make sure you save your project. Yeah, then make sure you click this button, render region, so that Blender only renders within the frame size and not anything outside that. Alright. This is just a preview. We are not going to work too much on lighting in this video. Just look at texturing. I think for the glass, I'm going to increase the alpha to 1, but that's your personal preferences. See here, we can see the smudges more perfectly. You can still work on them if you want. Drag them up. You can also affect the scale, go value, and plug this in. Maybe let's give it a 0.5. Beautiful. See, we get some thumbprints there. That looks awesome. Okay, so let's view this in render mode. Hopefully this should look. Yeah, then I think I'm happy with this. We get some smudges here and there. To avoid this black thing, what you can do is bring our plane ever so slightly down. Yes, so that you still get some. Beautiful. To get more realistic lighting, what you can do is go to our world properties, go to color, click on environment texture, then just look for where your HDRIs are located. Going to look for where mine are. Select any of these. Maybe I'll go for a nice sky, for example. Gives it some sort of real world lighting. Because I'm not interested in the background here, what I can do is go to my render properties. Under film, I'll choose transparent, maybe transparent glass. Alright, so here it becomes transparent. So now it's only rendering the objects and the light passing through it. And you can see the surface imperfections here. I think maybe they're a bit too strong here. But if this is alright for you, you can go ahead and leave it. I'm going to just work on them a little. So I think I'll just soften them by pulling this apart from this. Same thing with this. Just a bit. Save, then view again. Because of the lighting, this may not look as black as you want, so you can decrease the value here all the way to 00. That's all the way down. And I think with this being said, I'm satisfied with this. That is to achieve photorealistic results like this. This looks fine. You're not working so much on lighting today or rendering, just adding textures, and this looks awesome. Alright, so I think that will be it for today's video. We are not done yet. What is a toothpick dispenser without toothpicks? In our next video, I'll show you how to scatter toothpicks in creative ways. And if you are new to geometry notes, I'll walk you through the basics. You don't want to miss it.